Welcome, everybody. This is the next episode of the RADtalks. It's spring, and it's a perfect time to uncover one of my most favorite topics of all times, and it's the power of intuition. Welcome, Lisa. It's so great to see you here. And we have today a special lady, Lisa Kretschmann from Belgium, where I'm also based. Hi, Lisa. How are you doing?
Hi, Radmila. I'm very well. Good to see you.
So how do we know each other? So Lisa and me picked up our friendship from our personal development circle here in Brussels some years ago. And we've done various events together. What comes to my mind is definitely Lisa was one of the first people I've heard publicly sharing her private story about the perfectionism and how it affected her life. So that was mind-blowing. And just this recent year, COVID-19, a very difficult year, I also attended a special course where Lisa invited me. She was a facilitator of this course. It's basically the power of intuition. And I was also blown away by it. And actually, I need to mention this, my RADtalks concept. So starting a video podcast was the outcome of the course on intuition. So I tapped into my intuition fully. I had a very vivid dream about it, and this idea just turned into reality for me. Lisa is, of course, very passionate about personal development. She's also a creative consciousness and a natural success methods certified coach. She's also a yoga teacher and a hiking and climbing fan. So a very active friend here I have. And, I always wanted to learn more from you. And now is a perfect opportunity for this. So what are we going to talk about today? It's something very special. You started your career in EU advocacy, but today you are a transformative coach. You use intuition-based techniques, right? And why are these techniques different and special is because you tap into something beyond the rational mind and you tap into internal wisdom. And this is the part that I really, really like. So I'm going to ask you, what is intuition? In your words, your opinion, what's happening with our intuition? How can we tap into our intuitive field?
Yeah, thanks, Radmila, and thank you for inviting me to this talk. I'm really happy to be here and speak about something that is really, really close to my heart. Well, intuition, it's funny. I thought I'm not a very intuitive person for a long time, and it's just not true. We are all very intuitive persons, every one of us. It's just something that we lose on the way, because intuition, most people know intuition a bit as a kind of a gut feeling. And I think that's what it is too. That's how we have all experienced it in different situations, just suddenly knowing something of which we thought we can't know it, or intuitively knowing what is right when we have to take a decision. But actually there's much more to it, because intuition is something that is in a way one aspect of our consciousness. There are various aspects. We have the rational mind, which is thinking and analyzing and counting and helping us to survive and manage daily tasks. And then we have our unconscious mind, which is containing all of our beliefs and all the experiences, a catalog of experiences we can rely on. But then there's also the aspect of our superconscious, where our intuition lies. And I'm always saying that we have at least 3 voices in our head, and they're continuously talking at the same time. And the one we hear is the one which is loudest. So intuition is actually the one which is generally not the loudest, because in particular in the Western world, we have all learned to rely so much on our rational mind. It's all about, is it logic, is it not, and not allowing ourselves to also listen to the voice of our intuition. And in addition, it speaks to us in a different way. It might speak to us in English or German or whichever language, but often it speaks to us in a much more subtle way. It comes in images, like in dreams. In dreams, a lot of your intuition is coming up and coming through. Yeah. It may speak to you in terms of through sensations, through bodily sensations, through feelings, through ideas, through colors, whatever. And it's something, and that's why I started going so much into it, because actually we can relearn to access our intuition and to tap into the wisdom of our intuition in any given moment. In intuition, there is no indecision. In intuition, we always know what's the right thing to do because it's the one that brings us closer to our heart.
So, intuition is a biggie for me because I was actually designed with a very simple instruction. Man, I'm talking about human design. So I was designed with a simple instruction: follow your gut. And I thought this was simple, but when I look back into some of the major decisions I made, or even small ones, it doesn't matter, I realized how much I took a detour from my gut, and I was sort of hanging on to something different, I would say my rational mind, for guiding me through life. So for me, when I met you and understood the power of intuition, it was like going back on a path that's very natural to me. And this is why I'm really drawn to it. And, when I try to understand actually what got me away from intuition, I almost, I could have an image of me running a race and really being focused on winning that race. But then something all of a sudden pulls me back. It's like a string on my back, pulling me back. And I didn't know what it was. And then through your course and exercises with you, I realized a big part of a block for our intuitive force to come to light is something deeply embedded in us called limiting beliefs. So I stumbled upon these and like wonder, what is this now? And do we know what our limiting beliefs are? And I deal with this a lot through my values coaching. And sometimes we don't know what our limiting beliefs are, but we can remember them, right? And it's a good part of this learning, also tied to intuition. So I would like to ask you something about this, and we can start just naming a few most common limiting beliefs. So what's preventing us from trusting ourselves more, following our gut? So most common, people might like this, most common limiting beliefs in our world, the way we designed it, it's I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I need to be perfect, or I cannot trust myself, others, or the world. And these are just a few, right? There's more. So my question to you is, why are limiting beliefs also part of this big puzzle? And what's blocking us when it comes to intuition?
It's a really good question. And you know what, there's one thing that comes to my mind first is when we talk about intuition on the one hand and the rational mind on the other, it's important also to keep in mind that we think we are very rational beings, and we are actually not, because what drives our decisions is not the rational decision-making process. What drives us to take decisions are our emotions, and our emotions are a reflection of our beliefs. So in any given moment, we are influenced also by our beliefs. And that's why I think it's important to also have intuition and to tap into it to see what's really going on, both in terms of what would be the true solution for me or what's the right solution for me, but also in what you said, what's holding me back. And often it's not obvious. Huh? What's holding me back here? And then you have, again, your rational mind kicking in and explaining what holds you back. Yeah, to go for that career, maybe in my age, or I have to feed my kids, and we have all these ideas. And what is really holding you back might be that you feel that you're not good enough or that you're not worthy. And when you're not aware about it, you will just act on it and not do it and be held back. However, when you can see what it is, you can neutralize it and focus on what is it that I truly love? And also see whether your intuition gives you steps to take to go in that direction. We have what I call very fundamental beliefs, which are created in very early childhood, and which are more meant to give us orientation in life. So we need to understand, how is it here? And we ask all the time, how is it here? Yeah. And then when anything happens, when anything hurts, we need to find an explanation to survive it. And that's what, for example, that's why I also say belief is something that used to be useful to us in the past, but it's not anymore. Yeah. For example, at a certain point for you as a child, it was important to know that you're not safe. So you could take caution, you were not feeling safe with an authority or with one of your parents or whatever. So you created, then the conclusion you took was, I'm not safe and I have to be on my toes all the time.
Yeah.
But it gets so deeply ingrained in you that later in life, it's not useful anymore, but it will still give you that message that you're not safe and you will constantly act on it. And also dysfunctional behaviors related to being not worthy, I'm seeking for harmony all the time. I want to be appreciated, I want to be loved.
Yeah.
But as I feel not worthy, what I do all the time, I'm not able to express my needs. So that brings me in conflicts with my partner all the time, So when I feel like I want something from him, instead of saying, could you do this for me? Or when I feel like he's not doing enough for me or whatever, I start doing more and more for him, thinking like in return, he's going to do things for me because I can't say it. But he doesn't function like that. So we run into conflicts. And then actually I prove my belief of not being worthy, right? Because then I say, you see, he's not even prepared to do that for me with all that I do for him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's amazing when you say all this and I listen, it's incredible. These limiting beliefs are really in place to protect us. At a certain point of time, they were protecting us, but we have to raise awareness of what is not serving us anymore in order to tap into this much bigger force that we have within us. This is why I like this. And I wanna just be very precise with the terminology here because I think it's important. It also helped me a lot. So when we want to accomplish some goal, whatever we are set to accomplish, if we are still pulled back by these limiting beliefs, what it actually means is that we are putting energy, or energy draws us back to that limiting belief. And that means we are losing a good amount of energy that is supposed to go into our goal, right? Is this the gap? Is this what creates the gap?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in general it is. Yeah.
I love it. I love clarity that that this method brings. So yes, and then you mentioned the big E, which for me is the emotions. What happens with us humans when we tend to our limiting beliefs is that we pull a lot of emotions with it. It doesn't matter if emotion comes from when I was 5 years old and I'm now much older, but this wave of energy is again in place. So we get emotional overload, we get overwhelmed, and this energy is pulling us in the opposite direction of what we want to accomplish. And I wanted to ask you actually, how are emotions impacting our intuition?
Yeah, either in our head and in our thoughts and our emotions, or we are in our intuition. It's the way our beliefs talk to us. So, for example, I have this strong unworthiness belief, and that makes that people with this belief experience a lot of shame and guilt because they feel all the time that they're not worthy. People who have a very strong belief of not being powerful, of being powerless, they experience a lot of anger. So, emotions speak to us in different ways. And the aim is not to get rid of emotions or to get rid of our limiting beliefs, because actually we can't, we are human. As long as we have a human body, we're also going to have all these thoughts and these feelings and these emotions. But it's important to know, and this is a little bit provocative, but I always say emotions, thoughts, and feelings are not real.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean with this,
that's a biggie.
Yeah. It's a biggie, and for me it was a huge relief, because the thing is, they feel very real. So they are real in terms of the sensations that I have, like, I'm scared or I'm angry. So they are very strong, they are very real, but they do not reflect reality. Each time you're scared, are you in danger? No, you're not. So let's not waste energy in changing our beliefs,
Absolutely. And this is liberating what you're saying. We don't have to change our beliefs. They're there. They were there for some reason at a certain point in time. It's quite liberating, I find it. What we're trying to do is to become aware of them and to see how to work with them, not against them. So I really, really love that part. So a lot of this work that you do has to do with discovering yourself, rediscovering yourself and your potential capabilities, and finding that focused energy in order to reach the full potential, right? And so being this creative force, like we said. And there is something I want to talk about briefly to explain the concept that you also teach and do in your workshops and trainings. There is a metaphor for this whole process, and it's called the hero's journey. I want to ask you to briefly explain to us, what is hero's journey? Are we all going through this journey? What's happening to us on it? Where do we start? Where do we end? Is there an end at all? Or
yeah, thank you for that question. It's the hero's journey is a term from mythology, right? And what it means is it basically says that as human beings, we all have a heart, meaning that we all have desires and dreams and a purpose in life. But when we are born, we are born as kings in a way, but we don't know we are. So we start going into hiding. And actually, if you want to know the whole circle, you just have to look at the most popular films or even the story of Jesus, right? Jesus being born as the Messiah, but not knowing that he's the Messiah. And then when he knew he's the Messiah, he goes in hiding because it's dangerous. So he starts making himself small. But then you meet the wise man, that's part of the mythological circle, who tells you, who you are and what you're meant for. And in older societies, before, we don't have that anymore, but you had initiation to actually make people or children aware that they are powerful and that they have a purpose in life. And we miss that nowadays. So it's actually the circle of becoming aware that we are kings, that we have a purpose, and to start reclaiming our heart, to pacify the dragon, which is the beliefs about ourselves, and then to take actually our full power and act in life and give back to society. That's the beautiful end part of it. It's not only for ourselves, it's actually in terms of claiming back our power, our purpose, and also carry that back in society. And if you look at Superman, or you look at
Wonder Woman,
Lion King, whatever, they all follow the hero's journey as a mythological cycle.
Yes, it's amazing, and it's very beautiful. So we get to be the main star of our epic movie, right? And do this
yes.
I call it the coming home.
Yeah. and the thing is, and that's why I love this work, it's not everybody's daring to come out of hiding. And that's what I find very sad. And that's why I love the power of personal development, becoming more conscious about how we function.
Yes.
And we are all more, we are all so good in keeping us small and also not talking about things that we have achieved and so on. In this society, it's not really seen, right? We don't like to talk about it, but we are all much more powerful than we think.
Yes, I like this. I really find it fascinating. And now is the perfect moment for our little game that I have with my guests. It's called the Spiritual Graffiti. We have our main theme, which for today is intuition. So I throw at you a couple of quotes, and you just tell me what pops up for you. How do you understand it? How do you feel it? What you're sensing? What you would take away from it? The successful warrior is the average man or a woman with laser-like focus.
Yeah. It's funny, who's the average man. But I would say when we talk about the average person, it's just a human being. And the laser-like focus. Well, I think we are all warriors already when we have the courage to look at what's really going on. Because it's often looking at our dark sides. It's looking at things we don't want to look at, our fears, our emotions. So warrior has the courage to look what's really happening on the battlefield, inside of us. And then saying, okay, but this is where I want to go, and focusing on where he really wants to go. And I think then I would even talk about the law of attraction, or the pull of things that are really true for you. Because when you focus on what you truly love, there's a lot of energy. And when you also know what's holding you back on the other side. So you have the two parts, you have where you're right now, what's holding you back, and you have where you want to go, there's a huge tension. And when you are able as a warrior to focus on where you really want to go, then I always say that the universe is opening doors for you.
What I like about talking to you is that we're pretty much grounded here. We are not flying away anywhere. And everything that I've done in the Accessing Intuition course with you was very grounded and very human. And really, I only then I realized the power of the creative force we have within us, and how forgotten and maybe unnourished it was. I want to finish up with mentioning that, of course, with all this wonderful work you do, you are also the co-founder of the Refocus Academy. Follow the Facebook page, subscribe to a wonderful newsletter, and there's a gift from your side. I'm so happy to share for the first 5 people that get in contact with you after we publish our RADtalks episode. They will be able to have intuitive coaching sessions with you. So first 5 lucky ones, please get in contact with Lisa. We'll leave all the contact information. Thank you so much. Thank you for being my guest. Love you a lot, and yeah, following you on the journey. That's it. Thank you everybody for watching the RADtalks number 4. See you soon.